I will do is I'm going to recap on the topic last week, which was equity and how we can use equity to build wealth. Now, the first 15 minutes of that live uh, that live feed or whatever the case is, that first 15 minutes was um, I didn't have any sound, but I'm going to make sure we got sound. And so what I want to do is just recap, uh, providing information on equity. Okay. So we're just going to do that real recap, and then we're going to go into today's topic. Um, and today's topic is really blight, and talking about equity and all that good stuff. It's important that we understand it, and that may give us some incentive, if not a little bit, a whole lot of incentive to look to build equity. And this is especially important when we're talking about a surplus of property that we can use to catapult generational wealth. All right, so what is equity? All right. Equity is ownership value. All right. In real estate, it's the difference between what a property is worth and what you owe on it. For example, if you had a house and that house is worth $200,000 and you owe 120,000 on it, well, your equity in that property, in that house, is $80,000. Okay. Equity is your leverage, it's your cushion, it's your superpower, so to speak, right? It is it's like sweat that turns into gold. It works. The work that you put into something, uh, that is a form of equity. You're building equity because instead of you paying someone else, you are basically building up wealth. That's money that you get to keep in reference to that property, right? And so that makes what you owe on it and what you put into it less. So it's the work that you are transferring into equity, right? To help build the equity. Also, vision is a form of equity, right? If you think about, well, I can do this, this, and this, and I can take this and do it. Well, it takes time to do that. But what if you had to go to someone and tell and uh, have them to give you the vision? They're gonna pay. You're gonna have to pay them for it, right? So that's something that you don't have to pay someone, and you can keep that in that it works out in terms of wealth, vision. All right. Uh, so even the risk that you take turns into equity. Okay. So equity again is leverage. It's your cushion. It's your superpower. Now I want to tell you what equity is not. Okay. Equity is not cash in your pocket. It's not cash in your pocket. You don't walk around. Uh, you don't walk away with it until you sell the property, refinance it, or and use it strategically, right? Equity also, equity is not guaranteed, right? Uh, because the market is switches, and then if you may make a poor decision, right? Um, and if you neglect your property, you can eat your equity away. All right. Equity is not instant, right? You build it with time and strategy and consistent effort. Just like you work out in the gym, if you want a buff body, you go there one day and expect that you're going to get this buff body that you've been hoping and praying and wishing for. Is not going to happen, right? It doesn't work that way, but you have to continuously work toward it in order to build that body, right? It's that consistent effort, right? And when you put that consistent effort in there, then it along with making it of the right decisions and whatnot. That's how you build equity. Okay, so I think the other thing that we missed out on because we didn't have sound is how equity is used in real estate to make money. Okay, you can use it to refinance. It's a refinancing power, right? You pull cash out to build equity to reinvest in new property. So in that scenario that I just discussed about, let's say the property is $200,000, and you make it's worth 200,000, and you owe 120,000. There's a certain amount of that equity that you can use. I think upwards of 70%. Sometimes if it's your home, you can use up to 80%. If it's a VA loan, you can use up to 90% of that equity, right? In order to, you take out that equity out of that property, and then you can take that money and go and purchase, take 60 something thousand, $65,000, and actually go and buy a property. And that property, it would be free and clear, right? And so you can do this time and time and time again, over and over. It never runs out. You can do this religiously, right? That's how equity works. And so, provided that you maintain a good, a good enough credit, you can be extended that credit in order to have access to this to this equity that we're talking about. All right, collateral for leverage. All right, that's another way that we can use our equity in real estate to make money. And that's like the bank lends more money readily when you have equity, right? Because they know that you don't want to lose that property, and so 9 times out of 10 you're going to make sure that loan is paid. And then especially if this is your home, that's why they give you more percentage wise on the value of a property, because they're betting on that you are going to more than likely pay that debt, right? So you don't lose your home. Also, we got it's an exit strategy profit. Okay, what is that? When you sell your property, your equity converts into cash. That's what it is. When you sell a property, let's say that you have fixed up a property, and let's just say that it costs you $100,000. Uh, well, let's say that it costs you $50,000 to fix that property up, right? And now the property is worth $100,000. Okay, you got $50,000 in equity. You sell that property, now you paid off that property, that $50,000 that you owe on it, and now you got $50,000 in hand, right? That's pure money, right? And you have to pay your taxes, but this class is not on taxes, but you do have to pay taxes if it's not your primary home. All right. So as long as your capital gain is not greater than 500,000 for, I think it's 500,000 for a couple, a married couple, or something like that. But you don't have to pay on that capital gain. And so, and certainly in the case where you have $100,000 property, you have $100,000 property, and you owe 50,000 on it, and it's your home. You're not going to have to pay any capital gain on that 50,000, because you have to have lived there for at least 2 years. So you have some people that go from house to house. They fix it up. They find a fixer upper, and they fix it up, they move in it for 2 years, and then whatever, after the 2 years, they see what it's worth, and then a lot of them will sell, and they don't have to pay any taxes on that gain. So hey, that's money in the bank, right? That's money in the bank. You can pocket, and you can literally do that here in the capital city in Jackson, right? You can go out and buy a piece of property, a blighted property, live in it for 2 years, fix it up, live in it for 2 years, and then after 2 years, turn around and sell it, 50 grand in hand. And you can do that every year. If you do that every year, you know, you can do it 2 years at a 2 year interval, and you're making what was a $50,000 or $100,000, you know, you're pocketing that. That's just like having a job. You know, if it's $50,000, that's like having a job that pays you $25,000 a year. Or if it's $100,000 in equity have uh, that you have made, then you know, that is $100,000 every 2 years. That's $50,000 on the average that you're making. So that makes a lot of equity sense to me. But nevertheless, that's what equity can do for you. And I'm trying to adjust this. That is the power of equity. Okay, that's the power of equity. Give me a minute here. Okay. Is this thing gonna act right? All right. So yeah, that's the power of equity. All right. Also, partnership currency. Equity is oftentimes traded for capital, labor, or expertise. You know, gave an example. Let's say that you have a friend that's an attorney, and let's say your attorney friend didn't have any money, but they could give you some legal advice and things of that nature, or you need an attorney, you need to pay them a retainers fee. Well, you allow that individual to come in and instead of you paying him a retainers fee, he gives you X amount of dollars in retainers fee, and now you got the expertise of an attorney. So there's all the way a lot of different ways where you can use that equity. All right. So let's see, we're still good. All right. So yeah, that's what equity can do for you, and that's the game. That's what it's all about building that equity. Okay. And that is a super valuable commodity is that equity. One of the things that I want to talk about now is the blight situation here. And so if y'all have any questions, put those questions in the chat, and hopefully I can answer them. All right. But so just to move forward here, we want to also talk about the situation, the blight situation in the capital city. All right. And so everything what's happening here in the capital city is happening by design. All the goods, the bads, and the indifference is all happening by design. There is nothing that is not happening here in the capital city that was not designed that way. Okay. From all the things from what happens in government, what happens in your school, what happens in the medical industry, the housing industry, all of those things are by design. Okay. Now, ANSOTH want to be proactive. Let me back up. And the reason that we get the short end of the stick is because we are always reacting to what other moves that other people are making instead of making these moves and whatnot. Does that make sense? You know, we approach the world on an ad hoc basis. You know, just meeting demands here and there. We only crying when someone has done something that we don't like, but we're not proactive. We are reactionary people, right? And this is something that we've got to stop doing. Now, as I said, there is nothing in the capital city that's going on that's not by design. You know, I told you that the capital city is not falling. That's the game that the system wants you to believe, right? They want you to pick up, leave your property, abandon your property so they then can pick it up and for pennies on the dollars, and they can go in and buy it. In 20 years, mark my word, in 20 years, you won't even recognize Jackson. In 20 years, you will not recognize Jackson. It's going to be better, greater than Madison, Flowood, all these areas. In 20 years, you will not recognize Jackson. So that's why I'm saying it behooves us to get our stuff together so that we can position ourselves in a way that we can capitalize on what is taking place. Okay. Now, and I want to welcome King Clifton. Appreciate you coming on board to listen in to what I have to say. I appreciate you. But another Jacksonian that is now living, I think, well, he's out of state. Okay, but whatever I'm saying, we need to buy Jackson for the low. Any piece of property that we can find, that we can buy on our own, or pull with other individuals, family members, friends, associates, and buy as much property as we can. That's what I'm encouraging individuals to do. Now, the thing about it is that once, with the project, with our ANSOTH let me stop for a moment and tell you all about ANSOTH. ANSOTH is a community-driven real estate development holding company. Okay, and right now we are focusing on the blight issue here in Jackson. Now, there's a whole bunch of nuggets in this thing that if we do not understand it, and we're gonna miss it. We're gonna miss a great opportunity for us to build generational wealth. Now, if other individuals come in and buy Jackson, which that is what is already happening, you go in and you see the various tax liens that they got on property. You see the various organizations that are buying up property. Go to Hines County Land Roll and just put in a particular company that you know, and it's going to list a lot of the properties that they're buying up. Okay, and a lot of companies are waiting until they hit the Jackson tax lien. If you owe the city of Jackson, it's going to go for them for a while. Then after a while, then it gets switched to the state. The state's going to get it. So so I don't exactly know how that works, but that's the trail of it now. We got brothers and sisters leaving the city of Jackson. They're leaving their property that has been in their family for some time. They're leaving it. They're not keeping it up. That no one's paying the taxes on it. No one's and insurance is another issue. But nevertheless, these properties are going to dwindle in value, and ultimately they're going to be in the hands of developers. That's what's going to happen. You got this Amazon data service that's about, if you look at Meggett Evers Boulevard, right? From Meggett Evers Boulevard all the way to Beasley exit, and you get off on the Beasley exit, that's where you see the Amazon data service. We need to understand the impact that that's going to have on the city of Jackson. It's just like the advent of the railroad systems, and how when the railroad system came into existence, those railroad junctions, how people, all the areas around that railroad junction, they benefited. They started building hotels because they knew people would have layovers. They started restaurants because people were going to need to eat. Hospital clinics and stuff like that because they knew people would get sick and things of that nature. Shopping centers, all the things that travelers needed in their travel, right, is what they started putting together. Now, also, they had to have people that lives in the area to provide those services. So what did that come? Now they had to build housing, residential housing, and things of that nature. And then, so it just morphed into something greater than what was there at the time. That's the same thing that's going on in the city of Jackson. Now, of course, the Amazon Data Service Center is not in the city of Jackson. It's across the highway, right? Let me show you how particular or methodical people are, business people are, and that's just how they move, right? Nothing wrong with that. But if we can capitalize on that, if we understand how those things work, so these, so that caused the property value to go up. Now about the data service, this was one last thing. Now the same thing, the Amazon data service deal that the state and Madison gave Amazon data service, there's going to be other tech companies that are going to go through that same corridor, right? And they're going to want the same deal as they got Amazon. But and so what's going to happen is that the property value is that it's going to creep up little by little, more and more and more, to the point that all that growth is going to spread and flow right over into Jackson. Okay. But now, if so, and it's going to be at a high rate, and we ain't going to be able to afford it, most of us. Okay. So it behooves us to now start purchasing property all over Jackson, especially in these areas. I'm not telling you anything that's not already being done by outside organizations, and that's going to make the property value go up. So the best thing that needs to be done right now, as Jacksonians, right, is that we have to build organizations, right, to where we can create a community land trust. Now, so understand now, once development comes in, that's going to drive the real estate prices up. It's going to drive the real estate prices up. Okay. And so much so to the point that we're not going to be able to afford it. And so that's how gentrification happens, right? Because you don't own the land, you're renting from somebody. And they say, well, now this company down the road is offering me $200,000 for this little piece of half an acre land. And so you got to go. All y'all got to go because I want my 200,000. And they're going to start displacing people. And so gentrification is on its way. It is already here. It is already here. It's already on its way. It's already here. And it's going to get worse. You don't want to be displaced? Then you need to be making some moves. You need to be making some serious moves, because in 20 years, maybe 10, 15, 20 years, you're not going to be able to live in the city of Jackson. Okay. Someone put in the comment the time. I don't want to go over 30 minutes, 30, 45 minutes. So please put in the time so I can see it and I know how to kind of close it out. But because it wasn't built in a day. All right. So what I'm saying is that what ANSOTH, a community-driven real estate development company, what we want to do is create a land trust, right? Okay, got you, Queen Cretia. And that's what you get with your family members and friends, right? You get with your families and friends, and you create a land trust, and y'all start buying up stuff, pull your resources together. I'm telling you, I'm like Noah. I'm telling you, Noah said it's gonna rain. They say, now according to the scripture, they say, Lord, you just talking Noah's. You just talking Noah's, Noah. It ain't finna rain. They didn't believe him. And I know some of y'all out there ain't believing me. You seeing it on the writing on the wall, but you're not taking in what's happening. Okay? You're gonna be displaced. There's no question about it. The only thing is when, right? The only question there is that when are you gonna be displaced? Jackson will be gentrified. Right now, New Africans are 82% of the population. Right? We're 82% of the population in Jackson, Mississippi. In 20 years from now, if we don't make some serious moves, then we're going to be less than that, because you are not going to be able to afford to live in Jackson. And like my nephews say, no cap. No cap. You will not be able to live in the city of Jackson, unless you gonna pay those Madison prices. You ain't gonna be able to live in there 10, 15, 20 years from now. So it behooves you to make those decisions that you need to make in order to not be displaced. You're talking about you love J-Town, you love the capital city, you love Jackson. Well, you need to start acting like it. And what I'm saying is that the people that don't want to be displaced, the people that should be more concerned about being displaced, more concerned about blight, are those people that see blight next door. They should care about blight more so than anyone. If you have a blighted property next to you and you're doing nothing, to combat that, you have no reason to complain about being displaced. You have no reason to complain about being gentrified, because it's on its way. Now, what measures are we taking, ANSOTH, Community-Driven Real Estate Development Company? What measures are we taking in order to ensure that that does not happen, or minimize, to mitigate the effects of it? We are building a community land trust. We are building a community land trust. That's in a particular area, the rent, the value of a house, right, it's going to have a cap. And we want our people to be able to still be able to buy from us, to rent from us, right? And then at the same time, if you buy from us, we'll have in the gentrification. So it's development without gentrification is what I'm talking about. Development without gentrification. Now, in order for that to happen, it's going to be an all hands on deck. I'm telling y'all what's coming. Don't say that I didn't tell you, that I didn't warn you. It's coming. Whether or not you want it, you can pray for it. You can plead with God. You can plead with Jesus. All of these things. It's still going to happen. It's still going to happen. Okay. So again, it behooves us to get involved, to get educated about the situation, this blight situation here in the city, in the capital city. So again, our mission, it entails development without gentrification, development without displacement. But we're going to need you to get involved. We're going to need you to go to www.ANSOTH, right, to get involved. There's a little clip there that to tell you what we are about, and all you have to do is fill out the little form and just send it in to us, and we're going to put you on our contact list, and so that we can keep you informed. Now, I know everyone around us, I know it seems like everyone around us is winning. And the only reason that they are winning is because we haven't even entered the race. We haven't even involved ourselves with the situation that's really going on here in the capital city. It's like passing right over our head, right before us. Everything is being taken, snatched away from under our feet. And we cannot, for those of us that are concerned about it, we cannot let this continue, because where it's going, I'm talking about you're going to be displaced. You will be displaced. Jackson will be gentrified. There's only going to be a certain section of Jackson, if we don't act fast, that's not going to be gentrified, but still there's going to be economic growth, right? You can do economic growth without gentrification, but that's going to require that the people work together. This thing is serious. I'm telling you all, it is coming. And it don't look good for those of y'all that loves Jackson, that grew up in the city of Jackson, that want to see Jackson do better, right? It does not look good. We're going to be less than the population new Africans, that is, going to be less than the population 10, 15 years from now. If we're not, if we don't devise a plan in order to not make that happen, to not make gentrification, to not be displaced. Okay. So the thing about blight is more, I was just talking to one of my daughters, about, if I had, somebody wanted to give me $5 million or something like that for gentrification, I said, one person's money, I don't want it, right? Because you can go in and you can fix up all the houses in Jackson, but if the people's minds are not right about it, it's going to end up blighted again. So that's why, again, we created the conscious construction curriculum, so that you can understand real estate at its finest, so you can understand blight, so you can understand what it means to have community. We don't have communities, okay? We have neighborhoods, and some people say we ain't even got neighborhoods, we got hoods. So we need to change that. A community by ANSOTH standard is an area where the people owns the dirt. They own the building that sits on the dirt. They own the businesses that are in the building that sits on the dirt. They own, operate, and manage said space. Okay, that's what a community is. And not only do we don't have that in Jackson, there's nowhere in the whole continental USA where there is a new African community. It does not exist, because we don't control our economics, and we don't influence public policy to where it benefits us. And that is the whole difference. If you want to see some change and you want to see it and be a win-win for our people, then you got to control your economics. You got to control. You got to have be able to shape public policies. That's what it's about. And so what I'm asking of our people is nothing different than, and it's sad that I have to say this, other people are doing it, but we're not doing it because other people are doing it. We're doing it because that is the right thing to do. It is the human thing to do, but not beyond that, it is the divine right of a people to do that. Oh my Lord. My people, my people, my people. We got to get it together, because the way that it's going, it don't look good. But I am so much encouraged, and if I wasn't encouraged, and I'm really, really encouraged, because I've persuaded, the wife, babe, I said, baby, we're moving back to Jackson, because that's where my passion is. We gonna make it happen. We're gonna make it happen. Okay, can someone mark my time? Okay, we are going to make it happen. We are on the road to move back to Jackson, because that's where the happening is. That's where the community is. That's where our people are. And that's where we can make the greatest impact. Not trying to be braggadocious, but there are very few places around here that where we cannot move to. We can move to Madison, to Brandon, to Flowood, Pearl, Brandon, Byron. For what? Move where other people have to protect me? I'm not moving away from my people, having to depend on others. So that's why people move. Well, it's getting too bad. Well, change it. Okay. If you're not changing it, then you're accepting what is. So and so, they too bad. I don't want something happening. Well, so when you move in other places, you're saying, what you're really saying is that me and my people cannot protect our babies, so I'm going to move to where other people are protecting their babies, and hopefully they will accept us. That's what you're saying. That's a failure. That's a cop-out. So whatever those people do to you, let them do it, right? But you're going to have to assimilate. You're going to have to start talking like them. And that nothing's wrong with that, but just understand that that's what you're going to have to do, right? Or they're going to call you out because you ain't finna come with that funny stuff, that slang talking and all that, you know? But anyway, that goes someplace else. But I want to be in the midst of people, and there's nothing wrong with differences. That's why God did not create every tree the same. There are different trees. God did not create every grain of grass the same. There's versatility, and every ethnic group is beautiful in their own way. That's what makes God's creation so beautiful. You got different people from different ethnicities, but really, there's only but one race, and that's the human race. That's the human race, and so really, we're all brothers and sisters. For real though. That's why I say for real though. I'm for real. For real though. We all brothers and sisters, especially here in America. We New Africans have 17 to 42% European blood, and that's just a fact, right? And so I'm not dealing with that, but I'm just saying people are different, and so therefore it behooves us to build our own. We go and patronize them, they come and patronize us. We go and shop in their places, they come and shop at our places. That's a beautiful thing. That's how it's supposed to be. Okay? That's how it's supposed to be. We're not finna isolate ourselves from other people, from other ethnic groups. But what we do need to do, we need to build our own table. We need to build our own community. People will never respect us if we cannot build our own. Okay? That's what it's about. That's what it's about. And so I'm making a call. I plead with you all to please go to www.ansoth.com and get involved. That's it for now. I'm sending peace, love, and light to all of my brothers and sisters. And I pray that the Most High will keep you in your time of need and your time of sorrow. I'm Brother Tinker. Stay tuned, get involved, and we'll see you next week on Ask the Contractor. Peace, love, and light. I'm out.